Yesterday, the opposition had to walk out of this House because of a very serious situation. Because of a very serious situation that occurred. And I just hope that members in all parties understand what happened yesterday. Because Standing Order 57 was invoked last Ceann Comhairle, and I'm going to put it to the Taoiseach as well, in a manner which, in an unprecedented way, silenced the House in terms of its capacity to debate very serious legislation establishing a commission of investigation into matters of fundamental concern pertaining to administration of justice. Now, Standing Order 57 actually, was actually established originally. This is the standing order that was invoked by the Ceann Comhairle. It was actually brought into being to prevent the very occurrence that happened yesterday. Because back in the 80s there was an attempt by writ to suppress debate. And the response to that attempt was actually the standing order that was introduced. Why? And it was known as the gagging writ. It was introduced and known at the time as the gagging writ. Why? Because there was an attempt made to sue, to issue a writ, and therefore the Dáil couldn't debate it. So the Dáil said that can't happen, correctly at the time. And so they brought in this writ to prevent such gagging attempts of the House. And it is quite extraordinary that the purpose of that standing order has been fully turned around 180 degrees to do just that, to gag the House, to silence the House. It is actually a very serious issue that I would ask the Taoiseach and members of the government to reflect on. I have absolutely no doubt that everybody on the opposition side are at one that this cannot happen again, because the action concerned was not a jury, it's not coming before a jury. And of course we know that the last Ceann Comhairle, or anybody could, and it happens frequently. How does it very often a debate start? It starts by the Ceann Comhairle, last Ceann Comhairle saying, notwithstanding anything in standing orders. That could have happened yesterday. And the last Ceann Comhairle, or the chair of the debate, could have squared off the issue pertaining to Mr Shatter's legal representations by warning members not to say anything that might impinge on the courts and putting an onus of responsibility on the members. That has happened on countless occasions in this House, but it didn't happen yesterday, and the Ceann Comhairle had made his rulings. It is without question that the ruling was totally disproportionate. And I think not only disproportionate, but actually against the spirit of why that standing order was introduced day one. And there was a particular reason for that, going back, in my understanding, to the 80s, to make sure that the House could never be gagged again. Because ultimately, the House is master of its own procedures. The idea that a parliamentary assembly could be silenced by a judicial review or by a writ taken by a member of the House is a very antithesis of democracy, of parliamentary democracy as we know it. And if all of us collectively in here cherish what this Parliament is about, we should urgently seek a review of the ruling in relation to the debate yesterday, or the absence of a debate pertaining to the establishment of that Commission of Investigation. And we should all be united in terms of having self-respect and self-esteem in terms of our role as parliamentarians to make sure this never happens again. And I would ask you, Taoiseach, for you to comment on that, and I would ask you, last Ceann Comhairle, to bring what I said to the attention of the Ceann Comhairle, because I think what happened yesterday was a grave perversion of parliamentary democracy.